The first Star Wars project under Disney was the Star Wars Rebels TV show. After initially being disliked by most fans, it later on gained a lot of popularity after being released on Disney+. With the rising popularity of the show, so did the aftermarket prices for the LEGO Star Wars Rebel sets spike in price. Not all too long ago, the original release of the Ghost was a white whale set. Even after the Ahsoka Show remake of the Ghost, this is still my favorite LEGO version of it. And I hope in this review I can show you why. Of course, as always, this review is not sponsored, endorsed, or authorized by LEGO, and I've bought this set with my own money. The LEGO set 75053, the Ghost, released in June of 2014 for $90 US and 100 euros, and came with 929 pieces and 4 minifigures. Later in this review, I'm also going to combine it with the second set of the original Rebels wave, the 75048, the Phantom. Now, first and foremost, let's take a look at the beautiful box design of the Star Wars Rebel sets. On the top left corner, you got your LEGO and Star Wars logo. On the bottom left corner, you got the minifigure selection, with all 4 minifigures being new at the moment of release. In the top right corner, there is a helmet of a Stormtrooper and the Phoenix logo slightly behind there. And behind the Ghost, there are a couple of TIE fighters chasing it. And in the front, of course, you got the beautiful model of the Ghost. I love the Rebels box design. This gray and orange look just pops on your shelf in the collection, and is overall a pretty neat box design. And on the back side of the box, we got the play features and the combine features shown on the top of the box. And now let's take a look at the minifigure selection of the Ghost and the Phantom. 4 of the figures are from the Ghost, and the other 2 are from the Phantom. Starting off with one of the most expensive Star Wars Rebels minifigures, this is Scarra Zeb Aurelius. He comes with his brick-built bowcaster, with a nice torso front and back print, leg printing, and a custom molded headpiece for him. This is the one and only LEGO minifigure that represents the Lasat species, and also at the time of the review, the only LEGO minifigure of Zeb. I think the custom molded head is awesome. I only think the skin color could be done a tad darker, because it is a little bit bright for his Rebels appearance. We of course also have the captain of the ship, Hera Syndulla. She comes with torso front and back printing, leg printing, and a custom molded headpiece for her. She got her Leco, which got prints on the back, and her goggles are printed on the top of her head. She also has a double-sided face with one smiling face and a neutral expression on the other side. Because she got a re-release in a microfighter, she's even cheaper than the new Ahsoka version of Hera, but I like her more. The next minifigure is Kanan Jarrus. This is the brown hair version and not the expensive over $200 black version, which was released in a couple of earlier versions of the Ghost. He got nice torso front and back printing, hip printing, and also some details on his legs. On his torso you can see his shoulder pad being printed there, and on the bottom of the torso there is his belt going over the hip to the legs. Kanan also got a double-sided face, with one side being a smiling face and the other side being a serious expression. As he got released in a couple of sets, this is not an expensive version of Kanan, but a pretty accurate one to the source material. The last minifigure is the Imperial Stormtrooper in the Rebels design. It first was introduced in the Ghost and later on released in 5 following sets. It has torso front and back printing and also printing on the legs. The minifigure comes with an angry clone face and has a more stylized version of the Imperial Stormtrooper helmet. This Stormtrooper design is fairly accurate to the Rebels TV show, but I prefer the Rogue One LEGO Stormtrooper design, which in my opinion is more realistic and looks better. With this Stormtrooper being included in 6 sets overall, one of them being a battle pack with 4 identical troopers, it's not really an expensive figure to army build and still looks awesome in a larger quantity. Heading over to the actual model of this set, the Ghost itself. In my opinion, it's a pretty decent build. For 2014, it could have been a little more accurate and also better when it comes to the build, but looks-wise, it represents the model quite well. The Ghost has a couple of different colored tiles and also a bunch of stickers that are showing the more used look the Ghost has and the colors that the ship uses in the show. I'm quite happy with the amount of details, and I like the nice pop of color on the shelf when you have this model, but I think the newer model, the Ahsoka Show version, has a more complete look when it comes to details. Moving forward to the play features, you can of course open up the cockpit. This reveals a nice little seat where you can of course put Hera Syndulla in, so she can pilot the Ghost. The details on the cockpit are achieved by a sticker. They look fairly awesome and add some nice detail. I prefer prints way more on cockpit pieces than on regular bricks, just because the application of the stickers on a cockpit is very hard and they do tend to peel more easily. Down below you got the first gunner seat, which you can also open up with this little cockpit piece. You can slide it out and put actually 2 minifigures in. The space is a little tight, but you can fit both pretty easily on there. There's also a little sticker detail on the inside with a kind of steering wheel. On the bottom of the ship you can actually see the little turret that you can also move. Behind that there are stickered details once again on the side of the ship. On the top of the Ghost you got another turret, which cannons you can move up and down. You can rotate the turret full 360 degrees and remove it fully from the ship. You can then fit another member of the Ghost crew inside there and put the turret back into place. One big critique point of the top turret though, the turret is not really secured by any studs or any other technique into the Ghost itself, so when you swoosh it around and do some loopings or turn the ship upside down, the turret will just fall out. On either side of the Ghost model you got an escape pod with some sticker details on top. You can remove them from the ship and open them up to put a minifigure inside. On the inside of the escape pod you just find a small black seat for the figure and a little control panel which is printed. I always love when LEGO includes some sort of a escape pod mechanism into these sets. I think in playsets it adds great playability. Beneath the two escape pods you find two spring-loaded shooters on the bottom which you can fire up pretty easily. On the backside of the ship you got the beautifully built engines and thrusters and quite a lot of space for something else. Kind of on top and in between the engines you have a lot of space for the second ship of the Ghost crew, which is the Phantom 1. You had to buy the Phantom separately, and it came with two minifigures, which we'll take a look in a second, but the two sets only show their full potential when they are combined. The first minifigure of the Phantom is Ezra Bridger. He was introduced with this set and appeared in two other ones in a slightly different version. He comes with torso, front and back printing of his nice jacket, and he got leg and hip printing. He comes with a double-sided face and usually with a blaster. I gave him a lightsaber because I think it looks cooler on display. He's actually exclusive to the Phantom because of his cadet helmet, which I unfortunately don't know where mine is, so I just can show you a picture from BrickLink. But this helmet is very cool and also the only way you can get this cadet helmet, and it makes the Ezra figure way more expensive. The second and last minifigure of the Phantom is Chopper. He has the smaller astromech legs, he has printing on the front of his torso, and he has a printing on top of his head and even on the top of the headpiece, which does look pretty good. He got released in a variety of different sets, which doesn't make him that expensive. I think overall this is a good minifigure lineup for both of these sets. One thing that is a little bit disappointing is that they didn't include a version of Sabine in either the Ghost or the Phantom. She's the only real Ghost crew member that was missing in the 2-pack. You had to go out and buy another of the later released Rebel sets to get her, which, I don't know, you could have just included her here and just another different version in one of the later sets. But I definitely get the idea on why to not include Sabine in one of these two sets, because she was the only Ghost crew member missing in the duo pack, kind of, and you had to go out and buy another Rebel set, which kind of works. At least I bought another set to just get Sabine. Now, taking a closer look at the actual Phantom itself, you can of course open up the cockpit area and put in a minifigure. However, you have to put the minifigure in a little bit leaned backwards so it can actually fit and close fully. And of course you can fold out the wings so the Phantom gets into the flying position. At the back of the Phantom you find a little storage area where you can put Ezra's cadet helmet or a blaster. You can of course open this up and close it, and on top of the Phantom there is a spring-loaded shooter. You can fire this, and below there is a little sticker detail. And on the inside of the cockpit you also find another little sticker detail for the steering wheel. And now let's finally move on to what you all came to see here. When you put the Phantom onto the Ghost, you open up this little hatch on top, then press down the Phantom and close it, so it's pretty secure on there. However, you shouldn't swoosh around with it too much because it's not fully secured, so if you do some loopings or whatever, the Phantom will just fall off. However, this is an awesome play feature. I really appreciate that LEGO went out of their way to do this, because it just looks awesome on display. It's right out of the show and it fits perfectly. It's pretty sleek and sits on there like it's supposed to be there. So now for my conclusion, I have to say this is still an awesome set in 2025. I think the newer Ghost, like model-wise, is probably the superior version, as it is a little more accurate to the source material and has just some better and more modern building techniques. But I prefer the minifigure lineup of this set, and I think this still holds up pretty well. If I do end up getting the new Ahsoka Ghost, I will probably make a comparison video. But now let me know down in the comments below which version do you prefer, which version do you own, and feel free to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video and want to see more of this content. Now, wish you a good day.